It wouldn't be Mobile World Congress if Nokia, or I guess HMD Global, the company that makes phones under Nokia's name, didn't release a bunch of new phones, not even necessarily smartphones, for use around the world. We just got a quick look at these first batch of new devices here in New York City, and they really do run the gamut, so let's take a closer look. First up is the Nokia 210, and I don't really know what to tell you aside from the fact that this is a chunky candy bar phone that very much lives in the same vein as the chunky candy bar phones like the 3390 that gave Nokia its start in the industry. It'll cost about 30 euros when it starts to ship globally this year, and it plays Snake, it has a VGA camera, it has a pretty decent sized battery. There's really not a whole lot to say here except for the fact that the people who do buy this thing, which are generally people assumed to be in developing markets where they just need a solid phone that gives them some level of internet connectivity, will be able to download games and access Facebook through a built-in app. So for people looking for a very, very introductory device that'll get them on the internet, you could do worse than this. Next up on the list is the Nokia One Plus. I know that name is maybe a little confusing if you're familiar with rival smartphone makers out there, but it's pretty hard to confuse the One Plus that Nokia made versus the One Plus that OnePlus has been working on for years. It is an Android Pie Go device, very much like the Nokia one that we saw at Mobile World Congress last year. And after having used the device for a little while, I can safely say Android 9 Go Edition is a pretty big improvement over what we got last year. That's thanks in large part to specific modifications that device makers like HMD Global have made in partnership with Google. But overall, the software experience does not chug nearly as badly as the original spate of Go phones did. That doesn't mean it's going to be a great option for anyone looking for even above average power out of a smartphone. But if you're not looking to spend more than about €100 on a new smartphone that has very modern Android features and a design that is significantly improved over last year. I mean, we're talking a 5.45-inch display, we're talking a grippy nano texture back that kind of makes last year's Nokia One look like child's play. If you wanted to move from the Nokia One Plus into something a little more powerful, then we've got the new Nokia 3, or rather the Nokia 3.2. These names are starting to get a little confusing, and we'll touch on that a little bit more later. But the Nokia 3.2 does pack one of Qualcomm's Snapdragon 429 chipsets, either 2 or 3 gigabytes of RAM, either 16 or 32 gigabytes of storage, and a pretty slick display. This is a nearly 6.3-inch HD Plus display with a teardrop notch cut out of it, and I know they're becoming more common, but it is starting to feel a little crazy to get inexpensive devices like this that run relatively clean builds of Android 9.0 Pie that pack features that we would have expected out of premium phones last year. This is just the way the industry works, but looking at the Nokia 3, I can certainly see myself using this for a little bit of time. It's not the most powerful device out there, nor is it the most impressive phone that we've seen from Nokia today, but it does represent another entry in what really feels like Nokia's bread and butter. Inexpensive, clean, really responsive devices, and I'm not going to complain about having more of those. To round out the package is the Nokia 4.2, and I know what you're thinking. If you've been following Nokia, there was no Nokia 4. There wasn't even a Nokia 4.1. The naming, again, is getting to be a little ridiculous, but this did wind up being one of my favorite HMD/Nokia devices going into Mobile World Congress. That's partially because of the color options. There is a standard black option, and it does look really nice, but I'm a big fan of this sort of pastel pink. It's very reminiscent of the color that we got with the Google Pixel 3 and the 3 XL, which I've always been really big on. There is a 5.71-inch HD display up front that runs at a 19:9 aspect ratio, so it does fit really nicely into your hands while giving you the extra screen real estate that tall displays are really known for. And it's wrapped in 2.5D curved glass, which is really interesting. That's on the back too, and with the way this body is built with its polycarbonate shell and the die-cast metal frame, it feels more substantial than it actually is. After using this for a while, it kind of feels like the Nokia iPhone I wanted like 5 years ago. Beyond that, it does have a dedicated Google Assistant, just like the Nokia 3.2 before. This is a big move forward for Nokia. They want people to get the best of what Google has to offer in Android Pie and make it more easily accessible in ways that you might not have expected from this phone maker. And overall, it's a pretty slick looking device. Throw in a actually quite solid 13 megapixel rear camera with a 2 megapixel depth sensor just to get those portraits looking as portraity as possible. And you've got what feels like a really respectable choice for about 169 euros. We don't know when these things are officially going to go on sale, or for that matter, where they're going to sale when they're officially launched, but there's a lot to like here. All told, Nokia has done kind of what it always has. It's built a lineup of really respectable, clean Android phones. And for people out there itching to get their first taste, or maybe their second or third, of what a proper modern smartphone tastes like, Nokia's options seemed really well equipped to bring that to basically everyone with any kind of money. There is something here for everybody. That said, there is one other Nokia device that we're really looking forward to checking out, so stay tuned for that and a whole lot more from Engadget as we head up into Mobile World Congress.